Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today, for the first time ever on the channel, we're going to check out Mammoth, otherwise known as Wolfgang Van Halen, otherwise known as Eddie's son, who always seemed like the kid, and I think he still thinks he's viewed as the kid, and he may be the kid for his entire life, the way things are going, because, he started young on bass in Van Halen, and he was in that band for 13 years, right up until his dad died. Right after that, he started up Mammoth, and he has 3 albums out now. The last one just came out in October. This is on that record. We're going to be looking at The Spell. Every single instrument is, in fact, played by Wolfgang Van Halen. There is no other band. He does have a band for when he goes out on tour, but essentially he's a one-man band in the studio, and he's just an amazing musician. And we've known that about him for a while now. He had this amazing song come out after his father passed away, but it was a little bit different, I think, from what we're going to hear today. I believe this is much more rocking. The actual video itself came out 9 months ago and has 9 million views, so it's doing all right. That's good to hear. We thought better late than never, we ought to check him out. We know what his dad was like, and we know that he's got his dad's skills for the most part. I mean, it's just an incredible story. So, Adrian, we never talked about Wolfgang. What's your experience with Wolfgang?
Well, I don't have much experience with that. I know Mammoth is actually, he chose a very appropriate name for his project, because Mammoth was one of the original names for Van Halen.
That is right. Yeah, that's very true. And when he started the band, he was actually calling it Mammoth WVH, Wolfgang Van Halen, to set it apart. But now he's dropped that, and it's just Mammoth, and I think that's fine.
Yeah,
so
it's very appropriate.
Yeah, let's go ahead, check this out, and we'll talk about it after.
All righty.
Nice. Wow. What a bright song to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts, Adrian?
Cool riffs, tremendous talent. He's great at everything. Yeah, he's got the classic sound, too.
I agree. He's got that sound that I like to hear. It actually sounds like latter-day Van Halen a little bit, like some of the stuff that I heard musically speaking. Like I can't really speak to the lyrics after Dave left just because I never really paid a lot of attention, but I occasionally heard the songs. I've even played a few, as a matter of fact, in bands, but that's what it reminds me of a little bit. And his father was a unique talent. I mean, he was classically trained as well, and he always had melodies going in his ears, and he could knit things together in a really nice way, and that's what I heard here with Wolfgang. I can hear that in his work. So, I thought it was tremendous. Now, my understanding is he's also friends with Miles Kennedy. We have seen Miles Kennedy in Alter Bridge, Words Darker Than Their Wings, if you remember that one. Mm-hmm. It was a cool song. This is not terribly far in tone, like it almost could have been the same band in some ways. I mean, just on the surface as that song. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that particular type of sound. It does make me want to listen to more, and I want to listen to the album. I'd like to maybe check out the earlier albums as well. He's done 3 albums in, 5-6 years. That's pretty good. That's a good pace.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with what you said. I mean, everything sounds great. And as you said, he's obviously descendant of Eddie Van Halen. Mm-hmm. The song. I mean, I heard some of the lyrics, but I was busy being blown away by the music.
You bring up a good point. Maybe we should look at the words just for a moment. Let me pull those up. Who are you now? I'd like to meet you. Figure you out. I've hit the wall, wearing me down, the one I thought I knew. Take your time and tell me, can't you sound it out? Whatever spell you're under, of course it's called the spell, bleeding away your wonder, bleeding away your wonder. We can work this out. Interesting. So how people might disengage sometimes from something that they really like, or people they know, or hobbies they have, and it's like you're not sure why they're disengaged exactly. It's almost like they're under a spell. That sounds like kind of the context he's using here. And where are we now? I'm trying to reach you, flailing around. I'm down, I'm out, worried about the one that I once knew, as in, absence, like they're not there. They're here, but they're not here. Take your time and tell me I'm wrong. Whatever spell you're under, bleeding away your wonder, we can work this out. So it sounds like he's reaching out to somebody in trouble. That's just my thought on it.
Yeah, I was really digging the music. I mean, it kind of took me back. Different time when, rock and roll sounded like what we just heard.
Yeah, I'm going to say like the 90s, maybe the 2000s as well, but the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
I agree.
It sounded great. Yeah, I want to hear more of the record. I'd like to hear people's thoughts on this. By the way, it was recorded at 5150, which is the studio Eddie put together. Let me see here. The construction on Van Halen's property was passed off to city inspectors as a racquetball court. Yeah, okay. So, folks, why don't you let us know if you are already a fan of Mammoth or Wolfgang. Where would you send us next? What's the next thing we should listen to that he's put together? If you've ever seen him before, why don't you tell us about that? If you've seen him on this current tour, tell us about that. Looks like he's right now on tour opening for Bush, if I'm not mistaken. That's great. Any other info that you think we ought to know about? Why don't you leave that below, okay? Including interviews that you think went really well. I mean, I know about the Eddie Trunk interviews, but if there's anything else, let me know. All right, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care, folks.
See you all later.